Thought I'd become a gym girl for real. Worked out twice and couldn't see the appeal. Tried to put away my laundry today, so I moved it to the chair and then just called it a day. Made a to-do list to stay on track. Somehow I couldn't even finish that. I'm always starting something new just to give up like I always do, 'cause I'm a quitter. Are you a quitter like me? Wait till it gets hard and say, it's just not for me. If you're a quitter, you don't always have to be, as long as you can practice a few new techniques. Did you relate to that song by any chance? If so, you, my friend, might be a chronic quitter just like me. Essentially, you'll find yourself wanting to try something new, you won't immediately get results, and then you'll abandon it forever. For example, in 2024, I decided that I wanted to learn how to draw, and I did this 30-day drawing course. When it started off simple, with just like basic shapes, I was able to handle it. But the second they moved on to human faces, and I was really bad at it, as you can see, I decided that I couldn't do it any longer. And it's the same with starting a couple's Instagram account. I had this super cute idea for me and my partner to post travel vlogs, and guess how many times I posted on that account before I abandoned it forever. Yeah, I have all these big dreams, but they never really translate into reality, because the second I actually embark on something new, if I'm not immediately amazing at it, I tend to drop it pretty quickly. And if you don't believe me, here's a list of everything I can remember that I've started and quit pretty soon after. But around 4 months ago, I reached a breaking point. It felt like everywhere around me was just a graveyard of half-finished projects. And it's not just about like the little hobbies that I didn't continue pursuing. It felt like it had bled into every area of my life. And I was worried that if I didn't change this habit, I was gonna be someone who just quits things forever. It was gonna be like a permanent facet of my personality. I didn't want this quitter version of me to be the only one that ever existed. And so I decided to quit one last time. I quit my job and I made a pact to myself that I was gonna build something, create anything and complete it, just to prove to myself that I actually can. For my first attempt at building something new, I decided to create this YouTube channel. It makes sense. I had always grown up watching YouTube, having a fascination with it. I was a huge fan of like the Vlogbrothers back in the day, so I figured it can't be that hard. I just pulled out my iPhone, pointed it at my face, and I made this video. Till date, it has a whopping 91 views and 0 comments, and deservedly so, because it's a terrible video. Like, the audio is terrible, the video quality is terrible, the content is not well thought out. It's just so bad. And after I made it, I immediately wanted to quit YouTube, because I didn't see myself ever turning that into an actual watchable channel. After I made it, I thought to myself, I'm terrible at this. I should probably stop. And there were a variety of reasons why I wanted to quit. The first and most obvious one being delayed gratification. This one is pretty obvious. I didn't get any views or any comments or any kind of tangible benefit for what I had created, and so it just felt like I had wasted my time. The second reason I wanted to quit is because I had already told people that I was pursuing YouTube. And that might sound counterintuitive. You might think that by telling people your goals, you're more likely to stick to them, but that's not always the case. I would be at a dinner with a friend, tell them that I was pursuing YouTube, and then I would go home feeling the high from the goal that I hadn't really accomplished, and I wouldn't feel the need to film a single thing. Psychologists call this the intention behavior gap. Basically like preloading success before you've actually done anything. As it turns out, sometimes talking about your goals can create this fake sense of progress, and so you feel closer to your achievement than you actually are. And this works especially for identity-based actions, like I'm a person who works out, or I'm a YouTuber. So life hack, if like me, you want to be an author someday, you can just tell people that you're writing a book, and you don't actually have to write anything, and you can still feel like an author. And finally, the biggest reason that I think I wanted to quit was the uncertainty of success. because I was putting in all these hours filming and editing and learning all of these skills, but I had no idea if I would even get monetized, let alone turn into a big YouTuber like Mr. Beast. So the buy-in seemed quite high for not a lot of payoff. It's like when you're watching The Karate Kid, you see this guy who doesn't know anything about martial arts, and it's so satisfying to see him gradually get better and better and eventually kick the bad guy's ass. But the truth is, we aren't protagonists in a movie, so we don't know if we're gonna have that final outcome. We don't know if all the work and all the effort is actually building up to something. So that makes it really, really hard to stay motivated. Isn't that crazy? We love montages in movies, but then we hate to do the actual montage ourselves. We would prefer if it was with a protagonist and set to an awesome soundtrack. But the second it's us that's bad at something and gradually getting better, it's just not worth doing. But because I'm not a protagonist in a movie, I couldn't help but feel like, what if I just kept making these videos and the channel never grew and it basically wasted all of my time and amounted to nothing? Okay, but you're watching this video right now, which means despite the fact that I really wanted to quit, I didn't. So why is that? I always assumed that top YouTubers like Mr. Beast and top selling authors like Sarah J. Maas never had any of these fears and anxieties. I just felt like they had this special sauce, this little something something that just helped them keep going and made it so that they were always inevitably going to be successful. But then I found out that Mr. Beast had 5 years on YouTube of incredibly low views before he finally had his big break in 2017. And it's the same with Sarah J. Maas. She wrote the original Throne of Glass at age 16 and put it on Fiction Press, and it took some 10 years, including lots of revisions and rejections, for it to finally get published. So what is the difference between them and us? Why is it that they are able to keep going until they reach success and we tend to give up prematurely? It turns out the answer is something called grit. Let me read out the definition for you. Grit in psychology is a personality trait defined as the passionate perseverance and sustained effort applied towards long-term goals despite obstacles, failures, or plateaus. So essentially, you keep doing things even when you're bad at them, even when your interest wanes, and even when you don't see that much initial success. So as it turns out, Mr. Beast and Sarah J. Maas aren't luckier than me or more talented. They just have a higher tolerance for being bad at things than I do. You might have seen Angela Duckworth's TED Talk. According to her, grit is the greatest predictor for success, far more than your talent or your intelligence or your charisma or anything else.
Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years.
Isn't that crazy? This whole time I thought I was quitting at stuff because I was bad at it, and it turns out I just needed more grit. And so I started looking at the triggers that usually get me to quit and came up with a plan for grit maxing. I've been trying it out since January with pretty good results so far, so I wanted to share that plan with you. Maybe it can help you too. Number 1, I don't imagine success. I know that sounds weird because it's hard to feel motivated unless you can see the best possible outcome for what you're about to do. But the truth is, if I was focused on how many subscribers I was going to get from YouTube or how many views I was going to have, I would have quit a long time ago. Instead, I'm not focused on a specific result. Everything I do is an opportunity to build grit. So I keep making YouTube videos, whether I'm successful at it or not, because I know at the end of it I would have built grit, and that grit will help me succeed in anything, be it YouTube or any other endeavor. So start doing things for the sake of building grit and not for the sake of the result that you're hoping to get out of it. Number 2 is I have a motivation buddy. For me, that person is my partner. I've been pretty honest with him about my tendency to quit, and so whenever I'm embarking on something new, I give him a big list of reasons that I really want to do it, and I kind of prepare him for that inevitable conversation when I come up and say, hey, I don't think I want to do this anymore. So he's kind of been trained to ground me and help remind me why I wanted to continue that in the first place. I would recommend finding a person like that in your life that you can be honest with, that can hold you accountable and gently nudge you back towards the things that you wanted to do. And if you don't have someone like that in your life, then a journal can be a really great substitute. So before you're about to embark on a new skill, hobby, or endeavor, just write a list of every single reason that you really want to stick with this one. And so whenever you're tempted to quit, go back, read the list, and give yourself that strength to keep going. Number 3, and I can't emphasize this enough, is I focus on very small improvements. For YouTube, this started with the basics of how to set up a shot, how to light the scene, and how to make sure that the audio quality doesn't suck. Because if I was comparing myself to this big channel with amazing videos or this imaginary perfect product in my head, I would just never want to do anything because it would feel so overwhelming. Instead, video by video, step by step, I just try to make sure it's 10% better each time. And so with each video I make, I focus on a tiny, small, actionable improvement that I can do in the next one. And that way, the whole thing doesn't feel super overwhelming, and I'm able to keep myself motivated by just the tiny steps that I'm taking. My personal projects this year, writing a novel and starting a YouTube channel, have been rough. I felt so demotivated at times, and I quit my job to do this. So it's not even like a casual hobby that I can feel comfortable abandoning. It's my last chance to prove to myself that I can actually start something and see it through all the way till the end. So maybe this fails, maybe it doesn't work out, but if I come out of it with more grit than I started, then I would consider that a success. So whatever it is that you've been meaning to try, you don't have to avoid it anymore. Because even if you get bored or you fail, it's a chance for you to build a skill that psychologists say is the #1 predictor for success. I mean, who doesn't want that? So just pick anything and start. Because if you come out of it with more grit than before, congratulations, you've already won. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this conversation, then you might really like my video on how to form new habits. I've linked it at the end screen for you to check out. And I'll see you in the next one.